Right, they're probably not that funny. I watched a couple of them today on YouTube.
I can imagine.
You know, oh my God, yeah. I mean, they're the sort of people that you just want to. What do you want for them? You want for them? You want them?
Well, here's your chance. Come on, you have a blank canvas. You can come up with everything. Hey, it's like the aristocrats joke. Take your shot. Here you go. What do you want for them, Jordan?
To spend eternity in a hell composed of nothing but people like them talking to.
Wow, that's okay. I mean, to be honest with you, if I was like, where is he gonna go with this? I was actually gonna probably say something related to hell. You know? Oh, I'm thinking eternal damnation. I did want to quickly talk about comedians though, and comedy, because apparently comedy, it's not soy anymore. It's de-soyed. And the right is choosing, and I know some people still want to talk about Grand Theft Auto, so you get a teeny little taste of it. Anti-woke comedy. This guy, I would not have any fucking idea who he was if once again the right weren't doing an entire drama cycle about how canceled he was. And I was like, how was he canceled? I didn't know who he was. Apparently he's a dude doing fucking misogynistic comedy. Very original. You know, the first person to ever my wife his way to the fucking, you know, top of fame, and releases a special, and then the right is like, he's been canceled. He's been canceled in real time. And now look at this. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, now Jordan Peterson is to the rescue. How dare they took away your microphone, and they did the same to me when I wanted to talk about grandmother's brush. I haven't watched the special. I was going to juxtapose, I guess, some of the shitty comedian with a pretty neat new comedian I came across. I am, as you probably know, a liver comedy, and I do enjoy the art of stand-up comedy and stand-up comedians. You know, just a lot of them who I deeply respect.
It's a modern twist on an old joke. You know what I mean? It was a real circumstance that happened, an exaggerated instance that really happened, and I went, you know, this is a classic joke. Why not give my own personal modern twist on it and move on? The joke's like a minute and 30 seconds, and people were like, all he did was bash women. And I purposely did it first in the show to go, hey, just so you know, this is the kind of humor I like to tell. And if it's not for you, you are so more than welcome to turn off the TV right now.
Oh God! And did they? No, don't leave me hanging. Did they turn off the TV? Or did they watch?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I had the opportunity today to welcome and speak with...
And speak slowly, you did. Holy fuck. This thing is like an hour long.
...one of the world's most outstanding current comedians. Young guy, 28 years old, Matt Rife, who's exploded onto the comedy scene in the last few years. After having put his time in the trenches, he's been working as a comedian in small clubs and so forth. He started when he was 15, so he put in his 10 years before really becoming popular. He's been the subject of a relatively dedicated cancel campaign in recent weeks, and so we had a chance to discuss that, to discuss his witty, fast, brave...
Please, reveal your wit. Unleash the wit upon me. Oh, the wit is pouring on my face.
To that
it's in my eyes.
Talk about that sort of thing in
I
more
got the
detail,
wit in my eyes.
And also to detail out the structure of his new tour and his plans for the future, and why he's doing what he's doing, and what the role of comedy is in the broader world. So welcome to the conversation. All right, so I've been planning this opening, which I don't usually do.
Oh,
because I like to do things spontaneously, but I have...
Oh, we got a skit. Please tell me it's a skit. I haven't seen a Jordan Peterson skit since that weird-ass musical he released not too long ago.
I have to get this one right. Okay, so you got to help me get this straight. Okay, so now you're a comedian, and you got canceled for a domestic assault joke. And then in response to that, instead of apologizing like a good boy, you put up a joke ad site about special needs helmets to protect the people who are offended by you. And now...
Like, I love that this is all just crushing it in Jordan Peterson's world. Like, you know, Elon Musk is doing the same thing. They really like it when afterwards you're like, apologize? Yeah, here's my apologize. Fuck you. Haha, didn't see that one coming, did ya? Yeah, the old sleight of hand.
To get yourself out of trouble, you're going to come on my podcast.
I never
That's
said
your
that.
plan.
I was hoping it would make things way worse. I'm hoping we can drive sales to that very real website about the helmets.
Yes, anyways, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
I thought the joke was funny.
Thank
Risky, and funny. And I thought your response was dead on. Like, one of the things I've noticed is that people who are harassed by sensorial-minded nullwits almost always back down and apologize. And then
This is funnier than anything that I've heard, you know, be suggested by this dude. So
my sense of that is that a mob comes after them first for whatever hypothetical sin they've committed, and then they apologize, and the second mob comes after them for that.
Exactly.
And then they lessen their own character by the false apology, and they embolden these idiot accusers. And so why did you decide, when this blew up around you, and I mean in some ways it's a tempest in a teapot, but when this blew up around you,
it is.
Why did you decide to take the strategy that you took? Why weren't you like racked with guilt and apologetic? And
because it's just comedy. I'm just doing what's funny to me. It's never any deeper than that, nor should it be for anybody. I'm saying things that my imagination drums up, that makes me happy, release endorphins in my head, that makes my life happier. And all I do is share those thoughts with other people in hopes that it makes their life easier.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I know. It's kind of like the just a prank bro entire fucking genre, like, you know, synthesized into a single person just being like, just, you know, I thought it was fucking funny. Yeah. And then other people are fine. Yeah, okay.
I've been watching what you do on your specials, and you're continually interacting with the audience, which, and correct me if I've got this wrong, I mean, a lot of the comedians that I've spoken to, they spend a lot of time preparing their sets and practicing, but you're doing, it seems to be something that's much more akin to spontaneous wit. And that's a dangerous thing to do, because you could easily be not funny.
Oh, high risk, high reward, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's also that because you're doing that, you don't have a lot of time to exactly think through what you're going to say, right? I mean, if something strikes you as amusing, you pretty much have to go for it. And if you're
yeah, Jordan, why hone your craft? why spend any time trying to, you know, actually develop an entire set and routine, and then actually use that to actually maybe potentially have a message, or try and impart wisdom, or be transgressive, or try to call truth to power, or anything that you could use potentially comedy for? Why not just say things that come to your brain that you think are funny? Women are dumb. Yeah, they should clean. Yeah, I came up with that. It released endorphins in my mind when I thought of it, and then it was cool. Yeah, I love it.
Your head's full of censorship-related thoughts. You're going to be not funny in about 15 seconds. So
you have to let the intrusive thoughts win in comedy. You have to. What comes, if you're a naturally funny person, the first thing that comes to your mind should be the funniest thing to you most of the time in a comedic situation.
And it has to be the first thing. Yeah, you know, if you're writing a multiple choice test, by the way, if you second guess your intuition about the right answer, you're more likely to be wrong with the second guess. Yeah,
Is that true?
Yeah, that immediate
makes complete
response.
sense.
Yeah, that immediate response tends to be better. Yeah, well, and it's a weird thing, because that thing that's comical inside you, that's providing you with the intuition for the jokes, it has to be in quick
timing's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be a quick relationship with the audience. Yeah, timing is absolutely everything. You want to say the most pointed thing at exactly the right time. And so what do you think, or maybe, I don't know if you've thought about it, what do you think is, well, first of all, how broad scale do you think this rebellion against what you said actually is? How many people do you think are behind it? And why do you think it's become such a big deal?
It's probably a few dozen thousand, which sounds like a lot until you remember there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
And I would say 90% of the small majority that is upset with me doesn't go to comedy shows anyway, or wouldn't vibe with me as a person anyways, which is fine.
Right, they're probably not that funny. I watched a couple of them today on YouTube.
I can imagine.
You know, oh my God, yeah, I mean, they're the sort of people that you just want to, what do you want for them? You want them.
Well, here's your chance. Come on, you have a blank canvas. You can come up with everything. Hey, it's like the aristocrats joke. Take your shot. Here you go. What do you want for them, Jordan?
To spend eternity in a hell composed of nothing but people like them talking to.
Wow, that's okay. I mean, to be honest with you, if I was like, where is he going to go with this? I was actually going to probably say something related to hell, you know? Oh, I'm thinking eternal damnation, you know, a world where there are no brushes, there are no pubis. They can't run it along the side of your face in your dreams. That a hell on earth I wouldn't wish upon any man.
Oh, so good. Twitter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly that.
Right.
But that's the thing, is it's like whether you enjoy what I do or not, you don't even have to know it exists. If I'm your problem, if you and I are face to face and you have a problem with my comedy that I tell, that I admit to the world, right? If you just remove yourself from me, if you do something as simple as just turn around, there is an entire planet behind you for you to go explore and live the rest of your life. You don't ever have to think about me. You don't have to talk about me. I don't like screamo heavy metal music. Guess how often I think about it or talk about it? 0% of the time. You just remove yourself from the situation. I see no harm in trying to make people laugh as a general intention.
Yeah, well, I also don't understand exactly from a purely logical perspective, what the people who are
Marianne McDiarmid, I think that's the best possible comment there. Yes, we did that, and then you claimed we canceled you. Yeah, I know. It's like I'm detecting more fake cancellations now than there are real cancellations now, because like cancellation is such a like, you know, lucrative trajectory for all of these people to have, especially if they're working in media, and everyone loves to do it. Like everyone from like Riley Gaines, he's like, Riley Gaines is a 4th placed swimmer. Like of absolutely no note. No one would know who you were, but you got 5th place, and oh yeah, oh, I could have had 4th. I could have been 4th if it not for trans women. Trans women took it from me. Ah, I've been canceled. I've been canceled. Everyone's canceling me. I'm going to go on a fucking hate rally now. I'm going to just drum up a whole bunch of hate for a marginalized community. I'm going to spend all day going on all these media channels and getting paid handsomely to keep being hateful and speaking like hateful rhetoric. And it's like now it's kind of like, well, no one's canceling Lady Ballers because everyone realizes it's just going to be coming out exclusively on Daily Wire. No one really cares. It's only really featuring Daily Wire actors because they can't really find other people to be in the movies because everyone's like, nah, I don't want to be in this shitty comedy. This shit is fucking terrible. I don't. It's like it's really bad. I know you're trying to pay me. I get it. I don't want to be in your comedy. I can do other things that aren't your comedy, so I won't be in it. And the only people who are going to watch it are already a bunch of transphobes who are so desperate for content that maybe they'll love it. You know, who cares? And that's basically been the whole thing. But it's like, oh, they canceled Lady Ballers. Oh yeah, they canceled it, all right. Yeah, look how much they're canceling it. Look at all of you canceling us. Can we talk to each other about how canceled we are?
Complaining exactly expect from you, because and maybe it is that they have no
yeah, sorry, not even just 5th, tied for 5th place,
sense of humor, or and that's highly likely, or that they're doing something we can talk about, which is gaining some kind of benefit from their complaints, some virtue signaling. I really see that with the men in particular. Well, I know I really care a lot for women.
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
Yeah, I saw one TikTok video who was like, I have a wife and I found this severely disrespectful. I was like, okay, you cuck.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
What do
lol, soy cuck, keck.
Probably thinks
do you
that's a
get out
form
of
of foreplay.
Yeah, what do you want to get more pussy outside of your wife? Like, chill out. You're already married. She already respects you. Like, what do you
Yeah, well,
want
I
from
used
me?
to see when I had demonstrations around me, which used to be more common than they are.
Chill out. She already respects you. So wait, sorry, what is it? Like, I know the big controversial joke that apparently everyone is supposed to be canceling him for is that it's about domestic violence and how, you know, domestic violence can be funny actually when you make the jokes, you know, because it's funny to me, so I think it's funny to joke about domestic violence. And then it's like, well, you cuck, saying that you didn't like the joke. Huh? Yeah, how dare you try and cancel me, you fucking soy cuck. And it's like, well, it sounds to me like you didn't like the TikTok. I mean, by this logic, are you canceling that TikToker right now with your much bigger platform and your much, you know, larger audience and fucking the millions of people who listen and watch Jordan Peterson now, and then there's just like some small TikToker who's like, I didn't really like that joke about domestic violence. Oh, fuck, cuck, beta. Yeah, we'll see how you like the cuck cage put directly onto your face.
Are now, which is just as well. The worst people I ever saw at those demonstrations weren't the harridan women who were screeching like fishwives, but the men that were hypothetically.
See, that's funny. Like, how is this a real human considered to be one of like the top tier academics on the right? He's like, oh yes, you know, just a harem of harlots, you know, doing their siren song simultaneously, the wives of fishermen. I just know I love it because like not a lot of people speak like this, especially in today's modern age, and then try to do it in a whole like, so you know, you're Gen Z, right? How do you do, fellow Gen Z? Yeah, were you canceled by some fucking harlots?
There to support them, man. I tell you,
The
I couldn't even look
fishwives?
at some of those guys without having a shudder run up my spine. There's almost nothing worse than a man who tries to worm himself in with a group of women by pretending to be more on their side than the women actually are, when their actual motivation is to use that. What was that?
Wait, I'm sorry. If the dude was like, I didn't like the domestic violence joke, and he's married as well, that's been established. He's doing it to what, simp? Is this to try and get in with the lady folks? Yes, I in and of itself can't oppose domestic violence or trying to find humor in the act of domestic violence. It's not like, you know, I still say you can joke about anything, but is the punchline of your joke, well, she had it coming kind of thing? If that's the punchline, then yeah, that's pretty gross. But me saying it's gross doesn't have any power to destroy you, to cancel you. If a whole bunch of people on the internet are like, yeah, your jokes suck, boo, your jokes suck, are you trying to cancel them? Are you trying to be like, yeah, I mean, they're trying to cancel me, so I cancel those cucks, right? I you know, we flip it around. You know, this is a reverse cancellation.
Gad Saad, the evolutionary psychologist who works at Concordia, he called that the sneaky fucker a routine. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's actually a phrase from evolutionary biology. I'll tell you a funny story that goes along with that. This is hilarious. And
oh yeah, you learn it usually in a 203 course. Yeah, sneaky fuckers. Yeah, they come for you.
And so telling. So primatologists who studied orangutans figured out a long time ago that there are two variant male types of orangutan. Okay, so there's like, orangutans tend to hang around in trees, they're arboreal. But the males who become dominant in a given territory get so large, sort of like a linebacker in football, and they have these big fat pads around their face that are circular. They get so large they can't really go in trees anymore. And the females come to them. But then there are other males in the vicinity for who the primatologists thought were adolescents for a very long time, because they look like adolescent males and they hang around in the trees.
We're still talking about cancel culture, by the way.
But they turn out to be, many of them, fully mature males whose development into the linebacker is forestalled by the fact that they're not at the top of the pecking order. Right, and so their strategy is
like the noble
sneaky
lobster.
Rape.
Jesus.
Right. So it doesn't take much of an imagination to map that onto the, the feminist male who's so on the side of women that,
It doesn't take that long. Well, I don't know. That took a while. And to be totally honest with you, what the fuck? No. If a dude is saying, I don't really, take a lot of liking to the idea of fucking domestic violence towards women, that's not just to like gain the favor of women. In addition to, we're talking about like the example they're using is a guy who's apparently married on TikTok who's like, I didn't like the domestic violence joke. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, that's a sneaky rapist right there. I tell you, that if ever there was a sneaky rapist, like, well, that's a little extreme, highly weird, like just a bizarre thing to think, No, you can be opposed to domestic violence. Yeah.
he gets to be the friend who can entice some poor girl into bed when she's at her lowest point.
So it's almost like their own insecurity and lack of manhood. Manhood probably isn't the best word to use, but it stunts their own evolution.
Well, it requires that they take a different pathway to mating success. They can't use dominance. Right.
So pathetic.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, as always, this is something that we can certainly apply to human beings. And in this case, this is a direct correlation. You can see one-to-one, right? Like in this case, it happens to be a male who, while we will ignore that he is in fact successfully married and most likely having sexual intercourse already with his wife, but ignoring that, we'll say that he's doing it solely to curate the favor of females by pretending that he in fact is one of them. And that's exactly what you see here.
Yeah. So why did
definitely a fair thing to just suddenly accuse this dude who's like, I didn't like your joke of being a sneaky rapist. Is it like that's pretty wild? No.
You decide
that seems a lot more extreme than anything is leveraging at this dude. For guys like, I didn't like the domestic violence joke. I thought it was gross. And then the retort is like, well, this cuck is a sneaky rapist.
to come on my podcast.
I'm a huge fan, man.
Oh, well,
I find you, listen, you and I have never met. I'll be truthfully honest. I haven't done extensive research into everything you've done, but I find you to be a very kind man and very well-spoken and someone who stands on their morals and the realism of society today. And I think that is incredibly rare, and I just highly appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you. I wasn't fishing for compliments, but I do appreciate the fact that they emerged well. I'm curious partly, too, because...
They emerged well. You've done good. I've trained you well.
I think it's fair to say that your primary fan base is women. I mean, I'm not certain of that, but it is the case. Okay, and is it almost always women that you interact with in the crowd?
No, not at all. It's totally total luck of the draw, whatever happens. I mean, women yell out the most, for sure. Like, they'll heckle the most, so that will draw more adamant crowd work, like that I didn't necessarily intend on doing. But overall, no, it's just luck.
Is that something that's particularly characteristic of your shows? Because I would think, yeah, right.
Oh,
because
it's bad.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I've kind of created my own crowd work monster.
They both didn't do homework on each other. It's kind of hilarious. They're glazing each other.
Sure, in a way. A friend of mine put this in perspective for me. If I got popular from doing crowd work, which was a very specific strategy, I only post my crowd work because I don't feel like burning through material. Comics build for minimum a year, 2, 3 years, about an hour-long show, right? I would feel like a total piece of shit if I let you pay money to come see the exact same material you just saw for free online. So crowd work being a very unique circumstance that really isn't to be duplicated at any other show that you do, because you're not going to meet the same person who's been through the same circumstance, has the same story to tell, right? So this is a very unique thing that you could share, and it doesn't burn through any of your material at all.
So that's why you've been making the specials on YouTube out of crowd work.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because you can make them permanent, and you said it doesn't interfere with the novelty of a prepared show.
Yes.
And so you do prepared material as well.
Yeah, I have 2 full specials on YouTube that are fully material.
I've only seen the crowd work. Okay.
Oh, you watched the red flags?
Yeah.
So I specifically did that special because I was getting popular for doing red flag crowd work just on TikTok.
By the way, these wankers notwithstanding, if you want to see someone doing like crowd work as like an art form, check out the comedy stand-up of like Patrice O'Neill. That was someone who could do an entire set of nothing but crowd work start to finish, and it would be like absolutely phenomenal. You would be like, I can't believe this is all 100% improv.
And it got so bad to the point where I'd be in the middle of working on material and people would be yelling out like, do red flags, or just yelling out like flip-flops, or what, like mama's, like yelling out their own red flags without any context at all. So I was like, fine, I'm gonna do one special at the biggest red flag city there is, Miami, at the Miami Improv, and then that's like the final statement closing the chapter on my red flag crowd work. Now I don't do it anymore. Now there's, I think the special like
His crowd work is literally just him hitting on the audience. Oh, I don't know. I've never seen the dude, so I'm not going to be able to do an effective pre-cancellation as we had planned. I'm more just laughing at the fact that this interview is so ridiculous. You got Jordan Peterson on one end just doing the Jordan Peterson shit, where it's like, oh, how would we compare ourselves to the noble orangutan, and then we'll truly learn about why this person criticizing you was a sneaky rapist after all. And then being like, well, I'm actually a huge fan of yours. I mean, I don't know anything about you. Not much outside of the fact that you're very nice, and I think that you're important for an entire generation to listen to.
50 minutes long of me just doing full crowd work.
Kiss Jolk. Thank you.
For 50 minutes with the people in Miami, and it was a lot of fun. I was happy to close the chapter though.
Okay, so why did you close it, and why were you happy to close it?
Because it does ruin the show when people yell out. I wanted to go, okay, I know you like this thing I do, so here's that. Now you have that final product. I did this specifically for you guys. Now let me grow to do the kind of comedy I want to do. And I'm still growing and I'm still learning. I'm 28 years old. Most comics that are...
Who isn't letting you do this? Like, is this the entire thing? First manager tweeting, training, skipping college, wilding out the rarest diversity hire, the art of constraint, playing the white guy. What? Sorry, this is an hour and 13 minutes.
You know, all that kind of stuff.
So what did you do for
Listen
MTV?
to all the animal
my first thing I did on there was Wild 'N Out. I did 4 seasons of that. I was like the youngest cast member. It was right after Pete Davidson left there to go to SNL. They needed a white guy, and I happened to fit like that exact mold. Went on there, learned so
that's
much.
a very strange diversity hire.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we're short of white guys. Yeah, let's call Matt.
Never
He's
hear it
white.
anymore.
No, that's not a likely diversity hire.
But it could not have been a better learning experience because I was a very insecure, shy kid, and I was going on the show with comics. This was the revamp of Wild 'N Out. This was after Kevin Hart, D. Ray Davis, Corey Holcomb, all these amazing, Cat Williams, all these fantastic comics had left the show, and they rebooted it with a lot of comics I knew from the Atlanta scene who were monsters. Carlos Miller, DC Young Fly, Chico Bean are all killers on stage, and I had to compete with them. And I knew I couldn't, but I at least had to hold my ground. And in doing that, I just went through the gauntlet over there. Like everyone at that show turned me into a man with confidence on stage. And I'm so grateful for that. I can't imagine I would have gotten that experience anywhere else. So I did a few seasons on the show, and the show was fun. I enjoyed my experience on there, but I had a very niche role to play. Every joke I said had to be about me being the white guy on the show. If I ever tried to step out,
constrained.
Yes. Anytime I try to step out of it, people will be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought I was going to do like a clever joke." And they're like, "No, do the thing you're here to do." And although I enjoyed it and I had built a little bit of a name for myself, I was like, "This isn't."
Well, that's an interesting set of constraints, right? I mean, it's a very tight set of constraints, and one of the facts that emerges from the literature on creativity is that you tend to get creative responses when people are constrained very severely. Best example I know of that is, so there's a Japanese poetry form known as
tokenism. Well, I mean, like, if that story is true, I'm not saying it's not, but if that story is entirely true, then, like, you know, you're basically hearing about what every single person who has, like, you know, worked, every person of color who's ever worked inside, like, film and television constantly complain about. You know, not just people who happen to be indigenous black. I mean, there's Asian actors as well who said that they've been trying to break into various facets of the entertainment industry for a long time, and they're always just asked to play, you know, Asian stereotypes. There's Arab people who are like, I only am ever asked to play a terrorist. Like, that's the only thing that I'm ever cast is, or sorry, my agent ever calls for casting calls and stuff like that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to only play one character repeatedly every single time.
There's haiku, which has very strict rules. Well, MIT nerds set up a website decades ago now that was devoted to haiku that could only be about the luncheon meat spam. And there's like 50,000 haikus. There's literally 50,000 haikus online in the online haiku spam archive. And they're hilarious, but partly they're hilarious because, well, it's bad enough that you have to just do haiku, because that's like pointless and constraining to begin with. But then to restrict it even further,
so specific.
Well, it forces a kind of wit. And so I can imagine that having the constraint of only being able to make jokes about being the white guy must have also been one of the things that sharpened your wit.
I think so too. And I think, unless I'm misconstruing this, I think that's probably why crowd work works the best for me, because I'm very constrained. Like I have to answer what they're saying to me with a funny response in association with what they're talking about. I don't have vast options. It has to be now, and it has to be about what they're saying.
Okay, so you said that you were a shy kid, and obviously the last thing, in some ways, that you would expect a shy kid to be doing is to be doing online stand-up comedy in front of live audience.
Okay, so she realized that you're not funny, balancing funny and mean. Let's see, balancing funny and mean.
Smart, but you don't come out with like the long knives and hack someone to bits.
Of course.
Right, because that'll turn them again. Because first of all, you can actually hurt someone.
That explains Peterson's mean tweets. Well, Peterson is an actual fucking, you know, if we were to take his Twitter as just like a selection of comedy, the man is in a class of its own, you know, not intentionally, obviously, but if you got a man who's actually propagating fucking, you know, forced milking porn as some kind of Chinese communist breeding program, like you would be hard pressed to find a writer who could come up with that. You know, it's just like, okay, I got an idea for a guy. All right, he's this weird transphobic asshole. He's super racist. He's just like, everyone kind of laughs at him. He sounds like Kermit the Frog. I know, he's a character, a wild one. And then he suddenly believes, because he got duped into believing that there is a breeding program being done by the Chinese Communist Party in which they are forcibly milking males to produce some kind of superior genetic offspring, super soldiers, if you will. And then he took that and then quote tweeted it, actually. Oh, just another day in CCP hell, you know. And it was up for a long time, a very long time, way too long, in fact. It took like multiple members of his own family. Like, didn't his daughter drop in like, Dad, what are you doing? This is not what you think it is. Corderin was like, no, father.
One publicly by doing that, which is not good if it's not necessary. And second, you could easily turn the audience against you. Well, this is also, again, why I think it's so unfair that comedians in particular face this kind of absurd cancellation
Comedy
pressure.
gold.
Because
Again,
the line that a good comic is walking on is so damn thin.
No, he wasn't trying to do it. He believed that he had seen footage. That's the best part of this. He thought he had seen, because someone else had just posted a clip like, this is what is taking place right now in communist China, and still like everyone says nothing or something like that. And it's actual footage of a like a specific fetish video. I believe it was from the UK, of forced mechanical men milking fetish porn, cum milking porn, if you will. But he believed when he saw the video footage of this cum milking porn that he was watching footage of a Chinese breeding program. And I still can't get over that that's real. It's real. And he quote tweeted it with concern and like he virtue signaled about it. He had to let the world know, goddammit. Just another day in CCP. Sorry, CCP. And it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And like, it was up for so long, and he blocks anyone who tries to point it out, by the way. Now, I think Robert Evans may have gotten away with it the longest. Robert Evans was definitely doing a social experiment. It was a social experiment. He just wanted to see how many times he could reply and ratio Jordan Peterson before he noticed, or someone else noticed, on his social media that he was constantly just reposting pictures of it, being like, when will you answer for the cock milking porn? And it took a long time for him to get fucking banned, like blocked, you know? I was blocked so fast by Jordan Peterson just by posting a picture of him shooting at apple cider. That's all it took.
You have to be playing with disaster in order to be funny, right? The things you say. This is one of the things I used to read.
And in that case, we agree.
She would say, you could see it. You could see it. She'd be listening to someone, and some absolutely horrible thought would come into her mind, and then she'd have the guts to lay it out, even though it was like rude and unacceptable beyond belief.
Well, I think comedy is purely down to intent. When people are bullying you, like when high schoolers are making fun.
That would be interesting to hear you say, because I thought you said you were canceled because people just wouldn't get your joke, and you were like, well, at the end of the day, I'm just saying things that are funny. It's funny to me. It releases endorphins. That's my comedy. It's, yeah. And some people are saying that it's like, you know, inappropriate. I was making fun of domestic abuse or whatever. And then like, that guy's a soy cuck, you know, and then what did you call him? Some kind of sneaky rapist. That's right. So that guy's a sneaky rapist.
Of something about you, it's a totally different intent. Even though they are making a joke, their intention is that you're going to feel a certain kind of way. That is what differentiates it from stand-up comedy. Every single thing I say on stage is said with nothing but the intention to make people laugh. And I understand it's not going to make everybody else laugh. Some people heal totally differently when it comes to certain topics. I get that and I accept that. I'm not for you. But
yeah, but getting touchy about.
Yeah, but I mean, by that logic, like if you were just, your entire bit was saying the N-word for 2 hours, you know, you just get up there and say the N-word for 2 hours, like most people would probably be disgusted and offended by it, but there would be a subset of people who found that funny. And then if that like was your audience? Would that be okay? I know this is an extreme example. Obviously, there's not a lot of humor in that scenario, but like by the same logic, it's like, oh yeah, but I'm just doing it to make people laugh. I mean, if you laugh, good for you, and if you don't, I mean, that's all the point was.
That, even if you've been hurt, getting touchy about that, first of all, that's a sign that you still have some real work to do. And second,
Yeah, it's just not
getting
for you.
touchy about that and then shielding yourself from any
Yeah,
exposure
I heard
to
that.
is
If
not
5
the
million
way
white
to be
people say
cured.
the
Quite the
N-word.
contrary, you know, like if
The
it's
foolishness would be
better
over tomorrow.
if you've had a traumatic experience in your life, not to protect yourself unduly from situations that might bring that back up, but to voluntarily expose yourself to situations where that's likely to be the case. And so it might be understandable in that people have been hurt, but it's counterproductive even with regard to their own recovery.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, partly what comedy does too, it has this psychological function, is that it does provide it's sort of like a horror movie in some ways. You know, it's a weird thing that people will go voluntarily watch. You know, you're essentially supposed to go along with that.
I just don't understand how the environment isn't taken into consideration. Like the environment is the context. Think of comedy like a store, like a restaurant front, right? You go in there, the food's not for you, you can leave. You didn't have to stop in here. Comedy is such a niche field.
Again, I just respond to that with, because this one's one of those fake cancellations, like fake outrage, like, oh God, I can't believe they canceled you. How did you survive? It's so amazing that you're getting all of this publicity about it. And it's like, at the end of the day, if someone says your shit sucks, that's as far as it goes. I find, like, when did comedians get the softest fucking skin? They used to be the truth tellers. They used to be the ones who were fucking capable of doing anything. Now it's like, oh, you can't say anything in this woke cancel culture soyverse. You know, I just fucking try to say anything and all the cucks come at me, fucking. And it's like, a lot of these people don't have power. If there's thousands of small accounts on the internet, say, like in this case, thousands of women were upset at what you said, and they were like, yeah, that's horrible, don't make light of domestic violence, that's as far as it goes. They're talking about your Netflix special. Like, you're getting paid handsomely. You're gonna get a whole bunch more work afterwards. You're fucking, like, if people say you suck, that's it. There is actual cancel culture. It doesn't take the form of like rich people and famous people becoming rich and famous. It's like people get fired from their jobs all the fucking time. Marginalized people get fired from their jobs all the fucking time. People are discriminated against all the fucking time. Yeah, they get fucking canceled. But like, people being mad at you, like that's why when people are like, I don't think, you know, people should ever concentrate on like the words that other people are saying. That's not a winning position for the left. I think at the end of the day, no war but class war, all this kind of stuff. I was like, but people saying like your shit sucks is different. People saying like, yeah, boo. People like, boo. It's like, oh God, fuck. Cancel culture is happening. Yeah, the free speech has been censored. Well, no, it sounds like you want to censor the speech of people who want to boo, right? People are like, your shit sucks. Oh, fucking cock. That guy's what, a sneaky rapist, right? Sneaky rapist.
It's not, I wouldn't consider stand-up comedy a mainstream art form. I wouldn't. It's not film.
Celebrities getting criticized is not real fucking cancel culture. That's the truth, okay? All of them fucking complain. Even the ones who like can't find work anymore because they just suck. You know, Kevin Sorbo, it's like, oh yeah, I spoke out about Jesus and I got canceled. No, you fucking didn't. It's just like, you are a very one-note actor of little range, and every single time you want to go into the public sphere, you're just like, oh, fucking, yeah, woke culture, PC culture has destroyed me, I say on Fox News yet again. Like, when will it end? It's like, what? All I can do now is Christian movies. They're the only ones that don't try and cancel me for saying I love Jesus. So many fucking actors love Jesus. What the fuck are you talking about? That's never gotten people, like, canceled before. Like, what the fuck?
It's not television, it's not music, it's not as globally celebrated in every household, you know? So I think...
Yeah, I know. They are the thinnest fucking snowflakes. The thinnest snowflakes. And everyone all of a sudden does yet another special about how canceled they are, you know? It's like, oh, thought Ricky Gervais has a new special out. He's going to be talking about how he can't say anything anymore because of the woke indoctrination. It's just like religion. And it's like, what, on HBO, on Netflix, on fucking Showtime? They get to, like, selling out stadiums on the cancel culture tour? What are we doing here? Do you like, stop trying to turn this into an actual cause. I was so canceled for my thoughts. I only got 12 specials afterwards, you know? Holy shit. Oh, my fucking 2-hour transphobic special. Like, Dave Chappelle, you know, one of the actual goats, one of the greatest of all time, starts doing fucking I'm Team Turf, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, Netflix wants another special. They want a couple more specials. You're getting what, like $60 million? You're doing all right. This shit is still fucking very, very profitable for all of you. So I say people can say your shit sucks too. Don't silence their speech. Don't cancel them. Don't cancel people who want to be like, boo, you're not funny. Be funny. Be funnier. Boo. They deserve speech as much as anyone.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This show is produced by amazing people like you, and if you want to help us out, please consider donating over at patreon.com/theserfs. The show is made possible thanks to Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Laminia Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Pappy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Sir Nickus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demo, Tech Tink, Trevbot EXE, Words Greenwood, and not to mention all of the amazing and fabulous people you now see before you.